guys. So this is a video to help you with practice identifying supporting reasons in an informational text and also retelling the details and events in an informational text. So it is super important to recognize how authors use information and reasons and evidence to support their particular points. So let's try this. If I said our school lunch should be longer, what would you say? What would you add to, assuming you agree with me, what would you say to support that? So whether you're doing this on your own, if you're doing this on your own, stop and think about this. If you're doing it in a group, you can chat with your peers. Okay, so if you said things like, we work hard all during class period, and we need a break. Many of us use it as like a time for physical exercise, which is very useful. Sometimes we don't have enough time to get lunch and eat it at a leisurely pace. If you said things like that, that would all be supporting reasons, right? So if we should have a longer lunch because we work hard all day, we need to unwind. Some of us use it as a way to physically exercise, and sometimes we don't have enough time to actually eat lunch. Those would be supporting reasons. So now let's read this text and identify some supporting reasons and then retell the details. So, internet boom. Today, the internet is widely used in homes, schools, and businesses around the world. However, that hasn't always been the case. The internet was first developed in the 1960s and 1970s by U.S. government scientists as a way of sharing information. The earliest version of the internet was called APRANET for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. In 1969, only 4 computers were connected to ARPANET. Just 20 years later, though, as the computer became more common, or as more commonly developed, over 80,000 computers were connected. Wow, 80,000 computers in 20 years. Use of the internet continued to grow dramatically. Experts estimate that about 1% of the world's population used the internet in 1996. By 2016, that percentage grew to over 43%. How do researchers count more than 1 billion users? Programmers called web crawlers browse the internet to monitor how many pages and users are out there. Web crawlers work automatically, collecting data once they are started. These programs are sometimes called spiders because they crawl around the web. As the internet continues to grow, an increasing number of spiders scurry invisibly, collecting and sending information 24 hours a day. Okay, so let's find, first of all, what do we think this entire thing is about? So it's titled Internet Boom. And so is it, if you were to say one word that it's about, what would you say? Right, you'd probably say the internet. Now, if you were to come out a little bit and maybe say it in 2 to 4 words, what would you say this was about? Right, you might say it's about the growth or the growth of the internet. If you were to say it was about the beginning of the internet, you'd only be talking about one part of this article. So that would not really work. If you were to talk about how many people use it now, again, you'd only be talking about one part of it. So really, it's about the growth of the internet and how it's progressed. So that's kind of our main idea. So assuming I'm correct that that's our main idea, let's go find some supporting reasons or supporting details. So we are looking for details that support that the internet has grown, right? The use of the internet has grown. So we could find things like boppy boop bop bop. Okay, well that's fun. Interesting. Okay, so we could find things like This hasn't always been the case. This is a trigger word. However, so the very first sentence says that the internet's used a lot right now. And then however is a trigger word to indicate to you that it's going to be a difference. The next thing they say is going to be different than the thing they said before. So that hasn't always been the case. So now we know, okay, the internet was developed in the 1960s and 70s. Okay, this tells us who it was developed by, the US government, scientists. And the earliest version was developed in 1969 and had 4 computers. So that would be a supporting detail or reason that proves, yes, this is about how the internet has grown. And then it says, the next paragraph says, use of the internet has continued to grow dramatically. That's like a topic sentence. We need to get, though, into the details. But in 1996, people said 1% of the world's population was using it. By 2016, 43% of the people. So those 2 details would be very good. They'd be very good supporting reasons or details to prove that this article is about the growth of the internet. Now, the next paragraph is all about how people measure that growth and the usage. So it's the spiders and the crawlers. So is that information super useful in that? No, it's not. It's good information. It's valuable, but it doesn't support our point of the internet usage has grown. You can also use your graph, right? This graph tells us, if you look at the title is internet users, and on this axis we have users in millions. So this is millions of users, and this is years. So in 2000, it was, maybe 400 million. 400 million, that's a lot. And then, but it's gone up and up and up and up till now, where it's at like what, 16 million, which probably 1600 million, which probably takes us into the billions. So yowzas, right? Okay. So now that we know what our supporting details and our main idea and supporting details are, now we can retell the events in this story. And in this situation, we might add some things that we didn't necessarily add in the specific summary. So we might, and when you're retelling, there are different ways you can do it, but one logical way is to go chronologically, especially since we've got years here. We're talking time, so chronological, time, watch, chronological, that all works together really well. So we could start with, well, I'm going to let you give it a try. So retell the events in this story, and then we'll come together and do it together. Okay, so you might have started with the fact that the internet was started in the 1960s and 70s by government scientists. In 1969, there were only 4 computers on the internet, right? That could be your second thing. By 1989, though, that's 20 years later, there were 80,000 computers connected to the internet. Okay, so that's the next time. So we've got 60s and 70s. We've got 69, there were 4 computers. We've got 89, there were 80,000 computers. And then in our next paragraph, it talks about how there in 1996, 1% of the world's population, but by 2016, 43% of the world's population. So we're going really chronologically by years. Now, the next thing is, do we include this information down here in the paragraph, the one that we did not include in our supporting reasons? And this is all about the spiders that crawl and how they're measured. I think in a retelling, you could easily include that information, because that is telling your reader how we got the information through these web spiders. All right, I hope you found that useful, and have a great day.